Welcome to another episode of the Palm Tree Perspective, where we give you the latest on West Coast sports. Your boy Hamilton James. I got my man Randall Hamilton with me. What's going on, big dog?
Hey, what's happening, Ham? Late. Hey, it's almost playoff time.
The nitty gritty.
Week away from the NBA playoffs. Also, low key, NFL draft season is also approaching upon us too in a couple of weeks. So that's gonna be coming up. So yeah, man, the NBA playoff time is one of my favorite times of the year, man. So, like we're seeing a lot. We're seeing certain teams, like the Lakers. They're finding their stride, and so is the Clippers. But there's also some teams that are struggling. So right now it's like we want teams are starting to ramp up and play their best basketball. So now we're gonna see. I think we're gonna see the best basketball in the league typically in the playoffs. So it's exciting.
Yeah, this is the best time if you're an NBA fan. Of all the smack talking we talk about the league, this is the golden time. This is the time you start locking in. Let's get right to it, man. The Lakers with a big dominant win against OKC. LeBron going off, Luka looking special. What do you think, Randall? Do you think that was just a fluke game by OKC, or do you think that's a sign of what's to come for the Lakers?
I think it has more to do with how well the Lakers played, more so than OKC. It's just everybody was contributing and everyone was locked in. And also just what I saw on the defensive end is just you saw the communication, the talking, guys were rotating, getting their hands in the passing lanes, whether it was, LeBron, whether it was, Dorian Finney-Smith, Gabe Vincent, all these guys were locked in on that defensive end. When the Lakers lock in on that defensive end, I truly think the Lakers I don't think the Lakers can be beat when they're locking in on the defensive end the way that they did. And but you're seeing, but the main thing you're seeing is there's times where it's Luka, there's times where LeBron's a third option on the court at times, these last couple of games, So it's if LeBron could at times be a third option on the court, and then you got Luka taking over, Reaves taking over. It's everyone is all three of those guys are figuring out when to take over and then when to defer, and they're all finding that cohesion with each other. So to me, if those three guys can continue to get that cohesion, and then all the other guys fill their roles, this sky's the limit for the Lakers, man. They could definitely get to the finals and win a championship.
I'm gonna do my best Shannon Sharp impression right now, so bear with me. OKC, ABC, BBC, Michael Jackson. Lakers in 5, baby. I mean, come on, what are we talking about right now? Now, everyone's gonna. I'm not hating on OKC because I know they're a great team, but the Lakers have their number. I watched the Lakers with Anthony Davis last season.
Oh yeah,
I actually went to a game. I went to a Lakers OKC game last season, and the Lakers were dominating them. And this was last season. And all I've seen from this season when it comes to OKC, when it comes to the Lakers and OKC, is relatively Lakers doing well. Luka dominated the OKC last year in the playoffs. Straight dominated, took their lunch money and took their milk. And now you got Luka with the Lakers. You got the guy who dominated them versus the team that's been dominating them. Respectfully, I like OKC. I think they're a really good team. I think that if you're Sam Presti, you don't mess up like you did with Russ Harden and KD. You keep this team together for at least 7 years, 5 to 7 years. But right now it's not their time. I think that if Luka can stay relatively healthy, and by healthy I mean if he can get some semblance of his legs back under him, the Lakers are going to be dangerous. Like you said it yourself, everyone has been playing inspired basketball, and I know that LeBron and JJ Redick had the guys up for a game like this. The number one seed in the West. This is a put up or shut up moment at the end of the season where a lot of people are expecting you to just coast and whatever, get secure whatever fourth or fifth seed. But no, you're still fighting for the third seed, and you send out a statement that we are here. LeBron is still not healthy. I don't care what anyone says. I'm looking at LeBron, and as great as he is, I can tell that he's still not healthy. I don't know if he's going to be – I don't know if he will get to 90% by the end of the regular season. I do feel like we need LeBron at a 90%. I go back to 2 years ago, I believe, when he had the groin injury.
Oh, no, it was a little foot injury.
Was it the foot injury? Thank you.
Playing through the foot injury.
Thank you.
Like when they went to the conference finals. Yeah.
Thank you. The foot injury. I go back to that. Even though LeBron was still hooping, you could tell that it was affecting him. I mean, my goodness, the jump shot that playoff series was atrocious. I mean, a lot of that had to do with him not being able to get his bearings under him. So I need a healthy LeBron James to feel like super confident. But if Austin Reaves continues to be this exceptional third guy, arguably the third best guy in the league, they're gonna have a lot of I think they'll have a lot of good moments in the playoffs. Now, there was a situation not too long ago where I felt like maybe it was the game before OKC where it was like, Austin Reaves had the ball in his hand a little too much for me and Luka was playing off ball. That could be a recipe for disaster. Luka must be playing on ball, have the ball in his hands, and at maybe not towards the very end, but in the second half, third quarter, end of second quarters, that's when you give it to Austin Reaves. That's when you allow him to, be able to be a playmaker, get himself going. But I'm liking what I'm seeing from the Lakers right now, man, and definitely a statement win.
Yeah, I think that, I do agree with that. There are times where sometimes it does seem like, Reaves can, I think it's sometimes you just don't want to see him just, pound the ball too much. Like, you still want to see him, you want to see the ball movement because, that's when the Lakers play their best is when the ball is moving, And, obviously, you're going to have your times where, Luka takes over or LeBron takes over, but there's also ways for Reaves to come in and because there's times where he's closed games in the fourth quarter too on offense. So it's it's really going to depend on just who has the hot hand and who's really going to have it going. But I mean,
that's a better mismatch too.
Yeah, exactly, and who they can exploit on the defense end, right? But really, I think, I'm going to say this out there, right? Austin Reaves, I don't see why he doesn't win Most Improved Player. If the media messes this up and doesn't vote him Most Improved Player, he's become a 20-point per game. He's a 20-point per game scorer now. I think I've seen somewhere where I think the favorite's supposed to be Cade Cunningham, but to me that's ridiculous. But I mean, I don't know about that because Cade, in the previous years, he was one of the only guys on Detroit that was really any good. We're talking about somebody that was the first overall pick in the draft, Cade Cunningham. So it's not he has made strides this year, but really, I do think the rest of that Detroit team is better. They've had some players on their teams where now they're able to compete, and now we're seeing now the rest of the league can see Cade Cunningham shine, but Reaves, on the other hand, man, seeing him basically, rise up to be at times where it's he's taking over games. It's I definitely think he should win Most Improved Player.
I agree with you. I think Austin Reaves is the Most Improved Player. I did hear about Cade Cunningham, and I think the argument for him is that his team is significantly better as far as record-wise goes, and he's the leader behind that, or he's the main guy. But I do agree with you that he was the number one pick, and he came out already kind of hooping. It's just his team was weak. Austin Reaves is somebody that went undrafted, grinded, made his mark, started really. I would say Austin Reaves really came out when they played against Memphis, and he had that. You remember, he was like, "I'm him," and ever since he's just been balling. And I think he's in a very good position now with JJ Redick, who understands, a player of his caliber. So. I forgot he went undrafted. She should have been a long time. But yeah, I think even that makes an even stronger argument for him to really be the Most Improved Player, especially when you have a guy like Luka come and your production doesn't drop. Yep. His production got better. So Austin Reaves, I could definitely see him being Most Improved.
But next segment, we're going to move on to the LA Clippers. The LA Clippers have been rolling. They've won 14 of their last 17 games. Kawhi Leonard and James Harden, both of them have been they've been a 1-2 punch as far as scoring, and they've also been. And Zubats has been really big inside for them. So Ham, do you think so? And the Clippers have now risen up in the standings to the number 5 seed. They're still in the hunt for potentially that 4 seed to get home court advantage in the first round. Whereas about a month or so ago, it looked like the Clippers were going to be a play-in team. Now it's looking like they could avoid the plan. So, Ham, have the Clippers proven that how dangerous they can be in the playoffs?
Randall, I sound like a broken recording machine at this point with the Clippers. But I don't know, man. Like, to me, it all comes down to the health of Kawhi Leonard. If Kawhi is healthy, the Clippers can make some noise and mess around and potentially get to a conference finals. If Kawhi's not healthy, then there's no dice, and you just don't know. That's the thing. Like, it's just so like the Clippers could really be like 2-0 versus whatever opponent they have going up in the first round. Game 3, all of a sudden, when you think the Clippers are gonna, got a chance to really put it in the driver's seat, Kawhi's not playing. So I don't know. If Kawhi's playing, then I think the Clippers do have a high chance of getting to a conference finals berth because the Clippers have been playing pretty good. They have great coaching. I've always liked their depth, and their others have been stepped up. As much as we talked about Austin Reaves, another man you put it in an argument for most improved is Norman Powell. That's another guy whose name should be in most improved talks. He held the Clippers down for, I would say, about half of the season until Kawhi got back. I don't trust James Harden. He's never given me a reason to trust him. I don't trust regular season James Harden, cool. Postseason James Harden, playoff Harden, I don't trust him. So if there's no Kawhi, then I don't, I don't trust it. Even at this point, even in the first round, when it comes to James Harden, I don't trust him in the playoffs. That's his reputation that he's earned. So I'm on the fence with the Clippers. I don't think they're good. I think they can give a team a run for their money. If Kawhi is healthy, I think they could beat a Memphis possibly. I don't see him being a Minnesota. I don't see him being the Denver. I don't see him being the Warriors, not the Lakers. Maybe a Houston team, possibly, but I don't know if they're going to get them in the first round. So I'm like this about the Clippers.
I disagree with you about Denver. Like, Denver's in a free fall right now. They've lost 4 in a row.
But they had that one mistake. Westbrook, during Westbrook stuff, they easily should have won that game. So instead of losing 4 in a row, they would have at least won 1 in their last 4. So
but Denver's the worst. Denver's the worst out of all those teams you just named. Denver is the worst defensive team out of all those teams you just named. And in the playoffs, you got to get some stops, man. Getting a stop is just as important as getting the bucket. And to me, Denver, they are bad defensively, and they've been getting worse as the season has gone on. So, Denver, their stock is going down. I think the Clippers are going up now. Minnesota, I think that's their. If the Clippers and Minnesota played, I think that series will be a toss-up. Minnesota's played good basketball lately, but I still think I think the main question mark to me on the Minnesota is probably Julius Randle. He can when Julius Randle was in New York, he didn't play well in the playoffs when he was with the Knicks. Now it will be interesting to see what happens because the last game of the season, the Clippers and Golden State play each other. So I think that could probably be the matchup that determines, whether guys, because Golden State's trying to avoid the play-in. No, the Grizzlies, they've already fired their coach. They're a team that's already going downhill.
A lot of stuff going on with the Grizzlies that don't make sense.
It seemed like a hot mess. I think the Grizzlies will probably end up in the play-in most likely, but as far as segue into the Warriors, so because of their remaining schedule, do you think they'll be it? So you for sure think that they'll be able to avoid the play-in?
I don't think the Warriors are going to be in the play-in. We just said that they could potentially go 3-1. With the Spurs, the Suns. Suns already didn't give enough for the season. Spurs already didn't give enough. Trailblazers are, So they can go. I think they can finish off strong 3-1 or even a 4-0 and beat the Clippers. I don't think they're going to be in the play-in. I think the Suns will end up getting, the Warriors will end up getting the 5th or 6th seed. The Warriors have been using the same plug-and-play formula for 10 years now, and it works. Steph Curry, and I said it before in other episodes, but Steph Curry has been given a new lease on life, a breath of fresh air when it comes to Jimmy Butler being there, another dynamic scorer, another guy who can play defense, and just bring the dog out of the Warriors. So the Warriors are going to be all right. They're going to be one of those teams that you're not going to want to see in the playoffs. They're going to be a hard out. if a Warriors fan said, "Hey, we're going to the conference finals this year," I could see it. I could see it more than the Clippers. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think the Warriors are going to be.
You have more trust in them than the Clippers.
Exactly. And it really, let's just call it what it is, because we trust that Steph Curry and Jimmy Butler is going to be there. I can't trust that Kawhi Leonard is going to be healthy, and I damn sure ain't trusting James Harden in no playoff situation. I'm sorry. 9-20. No, I mean not ever. But
talk about. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, but I do think that the Warriors could not make the play-in. They'll escape from that.
And then you factor in like the championship experience that, I mean, obviously like, there's a lot more younger guys on the team, but like, Steph, Draymond, Steve Kerr, like all those guys have like that championship experience. And like, but one of the things I'm also seeing is like, and another thing about Jimmy's impact is like, historically we're like, if you talk to a lot of guys that play with Jimmy and his different, Jimmy seems to have a great impact on a lot of the younger players too. Like he brings out the best in a lot of the younger players. So you're seeing the other night when they played the Lakers, like you're seeing like Brandon Podziemski shooting the lights out, like he's, like I feel like, and I think basically, especially on the defensive end, like, I think he pushes a lot of those young guys to, get after it on that end of the floor, getting their hands in the passing lanes, contesting shots, rotating. So it's like, I think, it's one thing to hear it from Draymond, but like to have another, like, but have like a guy like Jimmy on the perimeter handling this thing. Like I think that makes life easier for Draymond because now he doesn't have to cover as much ground, like, on the, like, because he can, play help side, because he's a great help side defender as well. So it's like, I think really Jimmy's impact on that end of the floor, because I mean, the other night when they played the Lakers, like Jimmy wasn't having like some big time scoring game, but he was still, having an impact on that end of the floor. So
yeah, Jimmy Butler's the last of the Mohicans. You know what I mean? Like
I feel like I think you're a huge fan of his personally. I know you like he's one of your favorite players. Am I right?
I've always respected Jimmy Butler, man. I respect dogs, Randall. You know what I'm saying?
I know.
Because I mean, honestly, I'll be honest with you. Like, I feel like I was a dog on the court, as far as defensively and getting up in people and, being assigned to, to guard the taller defender or the whatever, the score or whatever. You feel me? So like, I
remember you playing, yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I mean, I ain't no NBA player, but I mean, when I played basketball and I still love the sport, that's I was a dog, you know what I mean? I was scrappy, and I've always loved scrappy. I feel like it's an element that we're missing from the game. I love to see people hold others accountable, and that was always someone who I was on the court. So when I watched that in Jimmy Butler, like I always loved it. You know what I'm saying? When Derrick Rose went down, he got stepped up. He was able to score. He was able to defend. He was a big reason why that Chicago team was still formidable in the mid-2010s. I always loved me some Jimmy Butler. When he went to Minnesota, he had anywhere Jimmy Butler has gone, he's made the team better. Now, to your point, you said that Jimmy Butler has inspired the youth. Look what happens when the youth are receptive to that. And that's why that's the thing about Jimmy Butler. He's not one of these guys that can just go to any team. He has to go to a team where there's already dogs and there's a dog culture. Well, the Warriors has a dog culture because of Draymond. Draymond creates that dog culture for the Warriors, if you ask me. A guy like a Gary Payton Jr., who's, we know who his daddy is. He is a dog. He sets the tone. So it makes it easier for another dog like Jimmy to go over there because there's not going to be resistance. There's not going to be all this friendly stuff going on like there was in Minnesota. Andrew Wiggins, I mean, look at his mentality. Karl Anthony Towns, look at his mentality. Of course it didn't work out over there because that's not who Jimmy Butler is. The Miami Heat, their dog mentality, their culture. Of course that worked. That was a perfect situation. And now I feel like Jimmy Butler is in another perfect situation because of the mentality and the culture of the Warriors. And a large part of a Draymond Green, a Gary Payton Jr., you know what I'm saying? Guys like that who really, a Kevin Looney, dogs. You know what I mean? Like get up in you, play their role, dogs. And I just think Jimmy Butler always needs to be on a team like that, in an environment like that, with an organization with the mindset like that. So Jimmy Butler, man, anywhere he goes, it translates to success as long as the team is mentally where he's at. And you're seeing right now with the Warriors, he gave them that license to be a dog. The Warriors were like, they weren't a puppy, but they were a dog. They were like a small dog. They had a bark. Jimmy Butler came and said, nah, make sure you do it like this. Hark. You know what I'm saying? And
I mean, yeah, because the first part of the year, man, like it's like Steph, like he was going through it, man. Like,
he was going through it. Steph looked like I mean, it was looking like,
I've
man,
never
is
seen
he gonna
that
start
frustrated.
talking about retirement? Is he really gonna be done soon? That's how he was looking at the beginning of the year. You know what I'm saying? In my opinion, that's how Steph was looking. That's how Steph was looking really until the trade. You know, like he was exhausted.
Yeah,
he was exhausted. He needed help.
I wouldn't be surprised if he. I mean, again, I wouldn't be surprised if he like somehow let it be known to management that like y'all got to do something because like and I'm pretty sure that, like I know he's probably not historically been that type of guy, but it's like but obviously given like Steph has been like the face of the Warriors for basically like the greatest player the franchise ever had. So I think he probably like had some leverage. So, hey man, y'all got to do something. And unfortunately and Mike Dunleavy, you got to give credit to Mike Dunleavy, the GM. He was able to pull that for Jimmy Butler. Now they did try to get KD back, but I think Jimmy actually at this point like was actually probably a better fit, and actually I think that he brought a different energy than it would be than KD came back, because that's basically almost like the equivalent of like trying to take back your ex. It's like it's like
one day we're gonna have to have the conversation about Kevin Durant, bro. Like the honest, real conversation about Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, Bradley Beal, with a championship coach and Mike Budenholzer, not even making the play-in, bro.
This is really the equivalent to like when Westbrook first came and like, the Lakers missed the play-in. But the problem is that like, the Suns are in a really worse situation because like, because Bradley Beal has a no trade clause and he's making ginormous money. So, I mean, like what team is going to like, trade? What team is going to trade for him? Bradley Beal's now like, he was coming off the bench at times this year. And it's like, and the thing is, I think the main thing with the Suns is just like, and it's been the main consistent thing with KD is like, as great of a player as he is, one of the more skilled players to ever play the game, but it's just like with him as a leader, man, it's just like he just doesn't have those leadership qualities, man.
Kevin Durant might be the most over glorified scorer that we've ever seen in the NBA. Mercenary is one thing. A mercenary is a Kawhi Leonard. To be a mercenary, you got to get to the playoffs. Your team at least got to get to the playoffs. I mean, you being a mercenary is the fact that it's predicated on you being super, super good, that wherever team you go to, you don't really care about legacy. You just care about the success of the team. What success has Kevin Durant had in the last 6 years now? You could make an argument that the 2020s, the last 5 years alone, have really damaged the legacy of Kevin Durant. I mean, if you thought it was bad that a guy who choked in Game 6 after being up 3-1, choked in Game 6, then lost Game 7 after being up 3-1, then joining the team a month and a half later that you just lost to a 73-19, was that the 73-19 that you lost to, that it was supposed to be your legacy to beat them and get back with LeBron in 2016, because remember, people forget. I know you remember. It was LeBron. It was no Curry and LeBron. It was KD and LeBron. It was supposed to be KD and LeBron. And when did that end? When KD decided to go to the Warriors and he was playing on Steph's team.
I mean, I wouldn't say that. Like Steph was back-to-back MVP at the time of the 73-9 year. You know what I mean? Like,
well, time out. Wait a minute. Okay, let's get into it. Why was that though? In 2015 and 2014, the 2013, 14, and 15, what's it called? OKC was hurt. They were you really can make an argument that OKC from 2012 to 2016, they were only full strength 2 seasons. And that was the finals year, and that was the year that they ran up against the Warriors in 2016. 13, they was hurt. 14, they was hurt. 15, 15, I get they choked to the Clippers. That's like it at that point. It still was, in my opinion, KD and LeBron. Who's the best player in the league? KD and LeBron. It didn't become Steph to me until 2016 when Steph got the unanimous MVP, And B, when they beat KD and KD joined them. I think that was when we were like, okay, it's no longer LeBron and KD, it's LeBron and Steph. It was always supposed to be KD and LeBron.
But how? I mean, yeah, but I mean, by the time, but Steph and LeBron were playing in the finals 2 years in a row, so it's like, you know, I mean, like KD had his opportunity to like restake his claim, but like you said, like he, like, you know, they did. Like,
well, that's what I'm saying. 2016 is when that ended, though, because even if when the Warriors won in 2015, they were great. Like, there was a good team, but we said, oh man, LeBron was playing with Matthew Dellavedova and a whole bunch of no names. You know what I mean? Like, we weren't looking at the Warriors how we were looking at the Warriors maybe a couple seasons later when they got KD. But that first championship run, we was looking at them like a fluke. And that was I was looking at them like a fluke for sure. I'm sorry. And KD had just won his MVP the season before. So it wasn't like KD fell off the map and we wasn't looking at KD like he wasn't still that dude. We was expecting KD to be that guy to get over the hump to beat the Warriors, to link back up with LeBron in 2016, because that's how it should have been the whole time. They linked back up in 2017, but everyone and their mamas know it didn't count because the Warriors were just the team was super stacked. So yeah, they linked Bron and KD linked up in 2017, 2018. But to me, at that point, no one was really talking about, oh, is it Bron versus KD anymore? I don't think so.
No. That did. No, I mean, the whole KD Bron, like once he did join it with Steph Curry, like folks weren't really like, you know.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it did. It pretty much did die down because at least, you know, because at the end of the day, like, you know, Steph won before him, but then Steph won a championship without him. So without KD, so
Steph
it's like
won 2 championships without KD.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. One before, you know what I mean? KD and one after.
No, yeah. But and that's why it's so damning for Kevin Durant. He joined the team. He had success, even though it was basically it was a cheat code. He had some success. He leaves there, and what has happened to him since? Steph Curry has won a championship. Kevin Durant has been bounced out of the playoffs in the first round like 2 or 3 times. He's been swept out of the playoffs as well in the last 5 years. So the legacy of Kevin Durant to me is just at an all-time low, bro.
Yeah, post Golden State, like he hasn't made it out of the second round. Now I will say this though. Now, if his toe wasn't on the line, in Brooklyn in 2021, I do think Brooklyn wins that because that was in a game 7. Like, I do think Brooklyn would have won that series, and I think they would have actually went on to win the chip that year.
If I grew 13 inches, I would have made the NBA. If I grew 13 inches, I would have been 6'10".
But yeah, that's just the way the cookie.
That's the way the cookie crumbles, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like, and then Kevin Durant was balling against the Bucks. I'm in 2021, but they lost. Mercenaries is supposed to at least get you. Mercenaries with championship experience is supposed to at least get you to a conference finals.
Yeah. Even Kyrie's been to the finals without KD now. Like, you know.
Wow, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah,
wow.
He went to the finals last year with the Mavs.
Wow.
And Kyrie was balling.
Wow.
Kyrie was balling as that. Like, Kyrie, like, basically, you know, redeemed his reputation.
You're absolutely right. Wow.
Yeah, but KD, and the problem with him is, like, it's not just like, but then, like, you bring that up to him as, like, you know, he'll act like, you know.
Like, I just want to hope.
But he'll be pointing the finger, acting like we're wrong, pointing this stuff out. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
I mean, it just goes to show. I mean, his leadership. Kevin Durant would have no championships if he didn't join the Warriors. Let's just call it what it is. It's one day. I know people will say like, oh, well, you know, people will just remember the championships. And that's true. The younger generation, they'll look at Kevin Durant and they'll say he has 2 rings. Us, we're always going to hold the players. We will remember what his career and what his legacy truly is. He'll have the championships. He'll have the MVP. He'll have the finals MVP. But we'll also look at Kevin Durant and say, without Steph Curry, he would have no rings.
Because here's the thing, like, because, like, look, you know, like, Kobe knew, like, for his legacy that he had to win without Shaq.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he knew that.
LeBron knew for his legacy he had to go back home and win one, especially the way he left Cleveland. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Kevin Durant, it's like, you know, I almost feel like Kevin Durant knew that, like, he had to go somewhere else, and that's why he left to Brooklyn. I feel like after Brooklyn, he stopped caring about legacy.
Yep.
That's why I feel like after Brooklyn, you just don't even care no more. But it's like, if you don't care no more, respectfully, bro, maybe it's time to retire because you're hurting your legacy really, really bad.
I don't know. I feel like some of these cats these days, man, it's like, some of these guys maybe don't really care about all that. They just want to
Of course
hoop
they don't. Look at Carmelo. Carmelo. I mean, shout out to Melo. He made it to the shout out Melo and Dwight Howard for making it to Hall of Fame. Carmelo ain't got no rings. Carmelo's claim to fame is really, I mean, if you think about it, he was a really good scorer. He wasn't a leader either, though. You know what I mean? Yeah, I mean, he wasn't a leader. He was a really good scorer. He has a championship for college, and he has Olympic medals. You know, some guys don't care about the legacy, but at the end of the day, when we come back and talk about you and where we rank you, you know, amongst the all-time greats, that legacy matters.
Yeah, so I mean, like, because I really do think like KD, like he could have been like potentially like a top 10, player all time, but it's just that because when he went to Golden State, it's like his rings. I mean, obviously, I'll never like put like asterisk next to like rings unless it's like some like Houston Astros shit where like they cheated, but like but to me, like, but that being said, like his rings are not going to be like measured up with like the other, with all the other greats. You know what I mean? Like, because like even guys like he's not gonna be like I can't put him over like Akeem the Dream Olajuwon, like who had MVP 2 rings.
I don't even know if I can put him over Jokic right now.
Yeah.
Like for real. Yeah. I don't even know if I can put him over Jokic. That's really how I feel.
I mean, the year that Jokic is having right now, like he's been ridiculous. He's having a triple double and shooting like 40% from 3, like 57% from the field. Like it's crazy.
Jokic should be the MVP, but they're gonna give it. There's voter fatigue, and they're gonna give it to
Shea.
To Shea. But Kevin Durant, man, has hurt his own legacy, and it's just whatever's happening with the Suns is just disappointing, bro.
Hell, Devin Booker is on teammate right now.
Kevin Durant, you can win 35 games, and they got pieces. It's not like there's like just those 3 guys and then everyone else is complete scrubs. They got some decent pieces. You know what I'm saying on that Suns team.
Yeah, no, I mean, I didn't necessarily think the Suns were going to be like a contender or anything this year, but I mean, I definitely
they're not even in the play-in, bro.
Like, to not even make the play, and like when you watch the Suns play, man, like they play like they don't give a shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they don't care. This team's not together, and they got decent. I'm looking at the roster. This roster isn't trash. This roster's not trash by any means, especially when you got for them to have the 3 guys that they have. The others is not bad. You know what I'm saying? You got shooters, you got bigs, you got backup point guards. Like it's not that bad. It's just that again, you just don't have LeBron James could do more with this team. You know what I'm saying? If you took LeBron James out and switched him for Kevin Durant, LeBron would have this team at the very least fighting for a play-in spot, 7th seed. So just the leadership of Kevin Durant,
like Devin, but he figured out a way to find chemistry with Booker and
find exactly. And Kevin Durant is not that guy. It's just disappointing to see his career go this way. And like again, not just to conclude, I'll say that in the last 5 to 6 years, I think Kevin Durant's legacy has taken a major dive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, but with that being said, we're gonna get up out of here. Subscribe to the channel.
Stay tuned. You want to talk about your trip to Chicago?
Oh yeah. That's right.
I know you saw Josh Giddey hit that game winner live. You were at the arena.
Yeah, man. So like me and my dad, we took a trip to Chicago, and we ended up we decided to go to the Lakers Bulls game like a couple of weeks back in Chicago. We've been at the United Center. I know we've heard about the Michael Jordan statue, but I remember like when I visited Chicago when I was younger, back in like 2001, and I have a picture with the Michael Jordan statue. Well, now they moved the Michael Jordan statue indoors, and now like they have like and it's right next to like the team store and the restaurant. Like they moved that store inside, and they have a cool display where like you can in front of the statue where like on the other side of the statue where like it has all 6 Bulls championships, and like folks can like line up and like take pictures, like not just with the statue, but also take pictures with those 6 championship trophies. So that was pretty cool. We ate at this. They actually have a restaurant like right basically inside the stadium, like before the entrance. They have a cool restaurant called Queenie's. We had a good steak dinner there. But we were sitting. We were sitting like up at the 300 levels, up at the top. And but yeah, like but the United Center is a very cool atmosphere. Fans were great. Cool environment. But yeah, man, that loss, I mean, we was feeling good. Like the Lakers were up 18 in that game, man. But
the loss was on LeBron.
100%, man. LeBron lost us that game.
That loss was on LeBron. I don't know what the hell he was doing helping. Got scored on for the 3. I don't know where his head was when he took that inbounds pass. That was terrible. And then my goodness, Josh Giddey just, it was almost only fitting that Josh Giddey hit a half-court shot on Bron after Bron had those 2 terrible bad decisions. So that loss was on Bron, but he made up for it.
But the thing is that like literally before like that inbounds play, like we were up by 5, and like my dad will tell you, like he literally told me, don't do nothing stupid. Mm-hmm. He literally said that, don't do nothing stupid. And LeBron just had the biggest brain fart of his, like what, I mean.
Just stuff uncharacter. You don't ever associate Bron with a turnover like that. You don't really associate Bron with that. So it was definitely like, what the heck? Like,
I mean,
LeBron was a weird last 2 minutes or last 30 seconds or 1 minute for sure.
LeBron can turn the ball over at times like that. I mean, he can't be, turnover prone at times, but it's not. I mean, he doesn't turn it over in those type of situations.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, that was a real devastating loss, man. But but obviously, like
crazy buzzer beater though, huh? The whole arena was going crazy.
Oh no, I got it on video though. Like I got the game went over because Reaves, had the go ahead bucket before that, so like I had that recorded and all that. But then so like I was like, all right, like, but I still got the Josh. And then what happened was like as soon as Giddey hit the shot, like I didn't like drop my phone, but I just oh. Like,
them shoulders slouched like this for sure.
Yeah, just a complete shot.
I can imagine.
Yeah, but I've never seen I've never seen a half court buzzer beater before. So I mean, like that's, I think in the city of Chicago, man, like I think that's probably going to be one of the greater Bulls memories they've had, post Jordan, man, because like that's, that's a crazy, because that was a crazy experience. Like obviously, like D Rose, like they had the D Rose era and all that, but but yeah, I think that probably is one of the better, at least regular season wins for that team for in the post Jordan era. So. But yeah, but obviously like it was a devastating loss. But yeah, I did have a good time at the arena.
That's what's up, man.
Chi-Town's a real cool city, man. So that was that.
Chicago. That's what's up, man. All right, man. Well, shoot, we gonna get up out of here and wrap this episode up. Appreciate y'all for sticking with us, man. Hit us up in the comments if anything that you heard that you want to go at it with. Please, the more engagement, the better. It's your boy Hamilton James. Follow me on Instagram at Hennessy Ham, TikTok at 818Hammy, and I'd love to hear from y'all soon.
Yeah, just follow me on Instagram at Ran_Hamilton, RAN_HAMILTON, and subscribe to the channel, Stacey on Sports, and have more content for you next week.